Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 15 of Kayfabe Coffee, the show that keeps it real while we pretend it's real. Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Mr. OTM, Kyle Gagliardi, the barista of broken kayfabe, if you will, pouring out hot takes stronger than a Starbucks shaken espresso. Welcome to Kayfabe Coffee here on the Main Event Wrestling Network. It is Thursday morning, March 12th. And I'm flying solo. Usually I got my friend JPJ with me to recap AEW Dynamite. But today it's going to be a solo adventure for Mr. OTM. So while you're here, let me know where you're watching from. Like I said, this is the only morning show on the network, and we're going to keep this casual per usual. Good morning, Eric. Always good to see Eric in the chat. This man is seriously alive with everybody that is a part of the internet wrestling community. He's supporting every single one of the content creators out there. He's checking in from Houston, Texas. And he's one of the OGs of the Main Event Wrestling Network. And I know Eric's already subscribed to the Wrestling Network. And if you're not, now's the time to do so, because we are on the road to 300 subscribers over here. We have almost daily uploads, whether it be these live shows or a podcast or just regular YouTube content. We got it over here at the network. Blogs, of course, and plenty of live prediction shows coming this weekend, starting on Saturday for Rey de Reyes, another Sábado Gigante special hosted by the Great Brown Hope. That will be live Saturday morning. They're going to be taking a look at that AAA card, and that will be right here on the network. And then on Sunday, it is AEW Revolution week after all. So we are going to be talking about AEW Revolution. This Sunday, I will be joined by Mr. Cincinnati of the Wrestling Junkies podcast. I will be joined by Tanner Lee from the Kicking Out podcast. I also will be joined by Dark Star Shady from the Blog World Order, and he's pulling double duty this weekend. So not one, but two main event mixers coming your way, and the only way you're going to find that is if you're following us at mainevent_net. Subscribe to the channel. The QR code is right there in the corner. We got a lot of things coming for you this year. Hey, you know what, Jay Gold? I'm glad the roof's still on my house, too. It is crazy. So here's a little peek behind the curtain. Dunkin' just released their banana cream iced coffee, which is pretty good. It's weird because Dunkin's like hit or miss. You go to every other Dunkin', it's different. They don't have consistent drinks. This one's okay. I like it. But nonetheless, I go out there and let it be known, as most of you probably know, I had tornadoes in my area about 2 days ago. Big storms. About 70 degrees here in Crown Point, Indiana. Today, I go outside. I didn't even think about starting my car or preheating it. Every window was frozen. Every single window was frozen on my car. That's Indiana for you. And that's why I have to take allergy medicine every morning, because the constant weather change just messes with my sinuses. And I am a mess. I don't even know if you could tell. I'm a little stuffed up right now because of it. Damn, the Fletcher Bailey match was incredible. Yes, it was. That was a very good match. I can't wait to talk about that. And I agree with you for the most part. But I feel like you can't fuck up a banana coffee. And I think I talked about that with JPJ last week. We like banana coffee over here. So, like, this one obviously has a lot going on. I even took away a cream. So, like, that's a lot. Even I know that, because it's got 280 calories in it. But I don't eat my morning calories. I drink my morning calories. That's how I roll. Where does he get his coffee? That is a good question. I would assume he probably just goes to a local spot or makes it at home. Jay Gold's probably one of those. Since he's basically the boomers, he probably makes it at home thinking it's cheaper to make it at home, which it is. But most things, I have this argument. This is a total tangent. But I have this argument with my parents all the time, especially if you're like me and you live by yourself. It is actually cheaper for me to eat out than it is to eat in, because I buy all those ingredients. I'm wasting so many ingredients. You're buying vegetables. You're not going to use all the vegetables. You're buying fruit. You're not going to eat all the fruit. I'm not a big guy. I weigh 155 pounds soaking wet. I don't need that much food. So it makes sense for me to go out, get myself a sandwich, and just bring it back and enjoy it. Then I don't have to do dishes either. Now that's just a random ass rant that has nothing to do with wrestling to start off this show. But that's why we're here. We talk about whatever we want. I make it at home, see? But I'll drink whatever is tasty. Has to be black. You're just like my dad. That kind that puts a pep in your step and your ass in the john. Funny you mentioned that. Right after I grabbed this coffee, I was in the john. I'm going to NXT here next week. Oh, Eric's going to be at the big Houston show, the Booker T Appreciation Night. Wow. And I get to talk about it on the night shift, and I get to talk about it with NXT and Najee. That's going to be great. I cannot wait. Next week's going to be a fun time. Enjoy, Eric. Hopefully you didn't have to spend an arm and a leg just to get into the crowd there for that show. Make sure you're following us on Twitch, guys. We will be live on Twitch going forward. We're live on Twitch right now, and no more Facebooks. Facebook wasn't really a big, social media site for us, so not a lot of people were checking us out on Facebook, but we still do have the Facebook page. If you want to go check that out, we post everything over there. Thanks for the invite to Najee. God, Jay Gold's still salty as hell he didn't get the invite. I'm sorry. I'm the one that set him up onto our show. Maybe if you made an effort to reach out to him and ask him how he's doing from time to time, then he would invite you on. I stay in contact with everybody because that's how you network, Jay Gold. Cheers to that. Let's talk about Dynamite, huh? You guys want to do that? Which, by the way, go join the Discord as well. I can send you an invite if you're not a part of the Discord. If you don't know what Discord is, I don't really know what it is either. It's like a big group chat, and you talk about wrestling and stuff, and Kine will compare both companies like he always does. $100 for really good seats. Actually, that's not that bad. I would spend $100 just to see Zarya versus Sol Ruka versus JC Jade because that match is going to be incredible. But a lot of incredible matches last night on AEW Dynamite, and I've been saying this on multiple shows. I got my hands in a lot of baskets over here. Kayfabe Coffee, NXT Night Shift, OTM, which, by the way, OTM interviewed tonight with Trevor Outlaw. That's going to be fantastic. He's facing off against Sam Beal at Warrior Wrestling Madness, taking place this Friday from Logan Square Auditorium in Chicago, Illinois, sponsored by the Main Event Wrestling Network. The first 100 fans at that show will receive a Main Event Wrestling Network t-shirt. So that's pretty cool. So shout out to Warrior Wrestling. That also will be simulcasted here on this channel, that interview with Trevor Outlaw tonight at 7 p.m. Central. But back to great matches, back to Dynamite. Back to AEW, because AEW has been on fire so far for 2026. I've really enjoyed what they are putting on my television screen every single week. Full disclosure, once again, Eric already knows this. A lot of the people that hang out here often already know this. I don't watch Collision. I only watch Dynamite. I am aware that I'm not fully into AEW like most of the sickos, but I enjoy watching AEW because every single week I know I'm going to get something that's different than other companies that makes them stand out. And that's why I still watch AEW, because I think they offer an alternative to the WWE, which seems to be obviously the number one most popular wrestling company, never going to be overtaken. But AEW is in a really good spot right now. And obviously the Don Callis family has had some feuding with the Death Riders here over the past couple months. I would like to see that wrapped up relatively soon. I think that we have to have some sort of conclusion here, and that's probably going to be at Revolution. But nonetheless, I won't complain about getting good wrestling to start the show, because I'm a guy that always says, start hot, end hot. And they started hot last night. Moxley and Claudio together, man, the chemistry is just, it's unspoken. Like, they just get each other. And that's what happens when you spend, what has it been now, maybe 5 years together? In a faction. I feel like right when Claudio joined AEW, he ended up joining the Death Riders. But yeah, this was a matchup that I think really is just setting up Takeshita for a big win on Sunday. Obviously, Takeshita didn't really need a big moment here in this match. Can we stop putting Moxley one? You're basically saying stop putting Moxley at the top of the card? Is that what you're saying here, Eric? Because I think Moxley needs to be at the top of the card, because he's basically their ace. They need him there to elevate other talent, and I feel like that's basically what all this has been for all this build until Revolution has been for Takeshita to ultimately take that title from Jon Moxley, because you even saw it. Oh, yeah, can we stop putting Moxley first on the card? Okay, I see what you're saying. Well, I mean, a couple of years ago, Orange Cassidy was basically starting off every match for AEW, and it worked. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's a Tony Khan thing. I think Tony Khan has his guys that he really likes to lead off with, and he sticks with them. Moxley definitely seems to be that guy. Because, I mean, let's be real as well here. Most fans, most people just channel surfing, if they are scrolling through the television channels and they come across AEW right there at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, right when they start, and they see a guy like Jon Moxley, they're gonna be like, oh, that's that Dean Ambrose guy from The Shield over in WWE. That might be why he goes on first, because they probably have a lot of people that are watching at the beginning and a lot of people that are watching for the main event. So let's put our most popular wrestlers in those spots. That probably is why Jon Moxley is kicking off every single show. But a fun start to AEW Dynamite. Here's the thing. Dynamite is different than other companies because they'll just get straight into the wrestling. And sometimes I like a little bit of a setup. I don't know if I always like, going straight into the action. And that might just be the WWE formula that's been instilled in me over the past decade. And maybe that doesn't need to be what wrestling is. But for me, I'm just so used to watching it one way that sometimes going straight into wrestling throws me off. But that once again, is probably just a me problem. But speaking of a me problem, I think I need to drink some more of this coffee. Let me know down below your excitement levels for AEW Revolution while I take a sip of this Dunkin' Donuts medium iced coffee banana cream. Jeez, that's a mouthful. Something about banana. I don't know what it is about banana and coffee. It just works together. After that, the best match I have seen on TV probably so far this year. Go watch this match. First off, there's a lot that happened during this match. I really can't get into everything. A lot of counters, a lot of reversals, a lot of submissions on the outside, which is so unique. And Speedball Bailey, you could tell he just went balls to the wall in this match, because most of the time in AEW, you go into these championship matches, you go into these eliminator matches, and you know who's going to win. Like most of us going into this match knew Kyle Fletcher was going to retain the title. But from Speedball's perspective, he's probably thinking, all right, I know I ain't winning this title, but I'm going to have to put my name on the map because Kevin Knight just did it last week. Sure, they're still a team. Jet Speed is still a thing, but Speedball's got to look out for himself too. He showed out in this match. He wants to be in that conversation with Kevin Knight because everybody and their mother's saying Kevin Knight's a future world champion, but where's the love for Speedball Bailey? Speedball Bailey balled out here against Kyle Fletcher. It's a 5-star match for me. I know you guys hate star ratings. I know you hate ratings in general because of Meltzer. But for Mr. OTM, this is the perfect match. A highly competitive TNT Championship match that not only makes Kyle Fletcher look great, but it makes the guy that lost also look good. Like, Speedball is going to be elevated now because of this. Just fantastic stuff here between these two guys. I cannot stress it enough. If you have not watched this match, go back, go watch it, because this is a free TV match that we got. This isn't even a pay-per-view. They could have saved this for a pay-per-view, and this isn't the first time that Fletcher and Speedball have gone at it. I believe they went at it in December, and they had a great match there too. But Kyle Fletcher retains his TNT title, but you got to put Speedball into the conversation as well. I'm not going to sit here and let Speedball be disrespected. When everybody's talking about Kevin Knight, let's not forget about Mike Speedball Bailey. That's all I'm saying. Great match. Match of the night. Seriously, go watch it if you haven't watched it, because I can't put it into words. I can't do it justice here sitting talking about wrestling on a podcast when I can just tell you to go watch the match. It's much easier to do that. I swear if JC retains next week, then I literally don't know what to do with Sol and Zarya. Well, she's not going to retain next week. No chance. No chance JC retains next week. If I was a betting man, If I was a betting man, I think Zarya is actually going to win next week. I know this doesn't have to do with Dynamite, but Eric brought it up in the comment section. I think Zarya is going to win because then she could hold that title for the next 5 or 6 weeks, whatever it is, Soul gets a moment. Or no, it's probably going to be the vice versa. Soul's going to win because I think Soul might get called up to the main roster. So it'll go, Soul will probably win next week. Zarya wins at Stand and Deliver. And then I think you're looking at Blake Monroe, you're looking at Kendall Gray, you're looking at Jada Parker, you're looking at Lola Vice, you're looking at, I don't know, but that's the line of the NXT Women's Championship, in my opinion. And I don't know if you saw this, but Tatum Paxley has been rumored for a call-up. So I don't think Tatum, that might be why she got the mid-card title, because they could just have her lose that right away and then get called up. We'll see. Hey, Tino, good morning. What you got going on today? I'm sure you got a bunch of live streams coming up, huh? That guy's always live. Go show some love to Tino. And while you're here, don't forget to subscribe. We're on the road to 300 subscribers at the Main Event Wrestling Network. Like I said, I believe we're going to have an upload every single day this week. Obviously, this one right here for Kayfabe Coffee, episode 15. Tomorrow night, SmackDown will be live, so that means Tino will be live for another watch-along, which, by the way, Tino, go ahead and DM me that link right now. And then this Saturday, we have a mixer. Tino will be a part of that as well. And Sunday, I will be a part of that mixer, talking more about AEW. So if you want to get my takes, just let me know. We are only 8 subscribers away now, guys. That means we gained one during this episode. So shout out to whoever decided to subscribe. I appreciate you. We got this indeed. We do. And surprisingly, we got somebody watching on Twitch too. Twitch is starting to pick up. So you got to show some love to the Twitch as well, because it's not going to be just these streams that are going to be on Twitch going forward. We're in the works for some gaming content because WWE 2K is out. Sports, video games are a big thing. We're going to dive into video games very soon here. I'm not kidding, guys. I'm not just blowing smoke up our own asses. We got a lot of things going on at the network. A lot of fun stuff, and we want you to be a part of it. And AEW Revolution this Sunday is going to be fantastic. That is one of their best shows. It's always good. And $50, right? I think it's worth it. Teach their own, though. You don't have to buy it if you don't want to. But this is one of the matches I think that's selling me on AEW Revolution, because Brody King and Swerve, man, these are two badass dudes. And they're going to get after it. And Brody King breaking the chain last night, because we saw Swerve, I guess he's one of the Seth Rollins' best bed, because he was in the audience. And he came from behind and attacked Brody King, tried to choke out Brody King. You're not going to do that against that big guy. The big guy just said, you know what? I'm going to take that chain off, beat up Swerve. Great piece of business there to get us excited for that match at Revolution. I still think Swerve Strickland is probably going to be the one to pick up the victory on Sunday, but I really like the presentation of Brody King as a single star so far in 2026, and I think that's been one of their major focuses in AEW, has been Brody King, and just building him up and making him a viable singles competitor, because for the longest time in AEW, Brody King hitched his wagon to other people. He was kind of just a background character, and now I think he's going to be a main star. JPJ's going down in the MLB. Probably not. I suck at that game. Yeah, especially if you pick the White Sox, you're not going to win. That'd be like me picking the Cardinals. The Cardinals are dog crap, too. She vacated her Evolve title. Eric, stay in our lane. We're in AEW world here. We're not in WWE world. This ain't the WWE show. Even though, I left my NXT title behind me. I was supposed to put the AEW title there, but Brody King versus Swerve. I'm curious what you guys think. Who's going to come out victorious in that match? Because the way I'm looking at it, I think this is essentially the next number one contenders for the world title. That or Kenny Omega returns and does something to get involved here, because I think he's not finished with Swerve Strickland. I would assume Kenny Omega is going to be coming back soon. But then again, I have a lot of fantasy booking ideas for Revolution itself, so stay tuned this Sunday. I'll let you know a little bit more. But Eric's going with Swerve, and I think that's probably the favorite here, the betting favorite, if we were to have some odds on this match. After that, the Dogs, they came out. David Finlay doesn't have his own theme song yet, so he's still coming out to Gabe Kidd's music. I think as a whole, they need better presentation. I'm not feeling Gabe Kidd crawling out. And if that's something he did in New Japan, I really don't care. It doesn't need to carry over. To me, you hear it when he comes out. There's no reaction. It's whatever way you slice it. Just look at the Dogs' entrance over the past couple weeks. Nobody's reacting. So I think they're going to have to make them look better, change their theme song, give them a Tron, and present them as actual killers going forward. And I know that's what they're trying to do, and I know that's what they're getting to, but I just still feel like there's a few things that they need to tweak. Like, especially if you're going to have David Finlay's first match. And I know I'm nitpicking here, but that's what I do. I watch a lot of professional wrestling, and I talk about a lot of professional wrestling, and I'm going to give my honest opinions on how I feel about the wrestling that they are presenting. I just don't think the Dogs have that killer presentation quite yet. And I think it's going to take some time, some fine-tuning, like I said, but they can get there eventually. But the match itself, just as fine as their last match. I mean, very physical indeed. And that's what you're going to get out of these four men right here. And Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy, I like the pairing. It makes sense. They have fun matches. They're both over with the crowd. It just feels like they're being pigeonholed into side quests right now, which is fine. Not everybody can eat the whole pie, you know? We only get a slice of the pie, but they don't feel like they're that important right now. And that's the only thing that's bothering me. Once again, a lot of good stuff going on, like Roderick Strong. That was a good piece of business after this match because the Dogs were beating up Orange Cassidy, and then they were signaling for whoever it was to come out, and it was Roddy. And for a second there, we thought Roderick Strong was going to join the Dogs, but he flipped the switch and he turned. It was basically him remaining babyface. Roddy's back. So he even got his OG theme song afterwards, and it was a nice piece of business there to close it out. But man, David Finlay's first time wrestling, he wins, and then he gets beat up by Roderick Strong after. So tough go for the Dogs. I'm sure they're going to ultimately win this feud. I know that they announced a match coming up at Revolution, so they probably will be the ones that come out on top when it's all said and done. But this match, really, the only thing that came out of it for me was what happened after the match. And that's Roderick Strong executing that face turn, I guess you could call it. I don't even know if it was a turn, because was Roddy really, truly a heel for the past year? I don't really know, because once again, I don't watch Collision. I'm pretty sure Roderick Strong spends most of his time on Collision. I could be wrong there. But nonetheless, the Dogs defeat Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin on AEW Dynamite. Quick sip of the coffee, and we'll be right back. TBS title. What a match between Willow Nightingale and Persephone. I believe Persephone is All Elite, which that is fantastic because I've never seen somebody go toe-to-toe with Willow Nightingale quite like Persephone did last night. She felt like Willow's equal. And Willow Nightingale is truly one of the top superstars in AEW. She's awesome. She don't miss. Willow Nightingale can wrestle with anybody's style. And we got two powerhouse women here going at it toe-to-toe. And Persephone looked like she belonged there. She looks like she belongs at the top of the AEW women's division because, man, I don't know what exact spot it was, but she lifted up Willow Nightingale basically from the mat and squatted her. And I was like, that's impressive. That's pure strength right there. And it wasn't just the strength that amazed me in this match. The athleticism of both women for their size was incredible as well. Willow Nightingale was hitting Hurricane Rana. Persephone was jumping off of things. It was honestly, for me, close to as good as Flesher versus Speedball. And maybe that's just because Persephone is not as well known for me personally, and I was genuinely surprised by her performance, but I was like, man, I need to see this match again. I think they need to run it back. It's just tough because Willow's holding tag titles. She's also holding the TBS. She's pulling double duty. I think that's finally going to end on Revolution. I think Willow will probably drop the tag titles. I think she'll defeat Cross for the TBS title. That I think they're going to end up dropping the tag titles because she's working double duty, if I'm not mistaken, for AEW Revolution this weekend. Willow could win the Owen, but she has to lose the TBS first. I don't think she's going to win this year's Owen because, like I said, I still think she's going to hold on to the TBS title. She kind of looks like Ariana Grace a lot to me. Maybe. Persephone is definitely a stronger, more athletic build than Ariana Grace, but Persephone really shined in this matchup against Willow Nightingale, and Willow Nightingale is a special talent. AEW needs to make sure they never lose her. She's AEW through and through. Like, I love when her music hits. Everybody just reacts in a positive way. She's exactly what you need in your women's division. You need that true baby face that everyone's always going to love, and that's what Willow Nightingale is. It's just unfortunate she's going to be losing her tag team titles to Megan Bayne. I think that's who they face off against, right? Megan Bayne and Cross, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it was Ford. I don't know. That's the problem when you're intertwining titles. It gets confusing. Exactly. I didn't want to say it because it's the obvious comparison. I have said it before, but yes, Willow Nightingale is essentially their Bailey over there in WWE or in AEW. Getting down to the end of my coffee over here. It's a good thing we only got 2 more matches to talk about. Which, by the way, don't forget, tonight I got an interview with Trevor Outlaw, and it will be simulcasted here on the Main Event YouTube channel, but that is mainly going to be on the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, at Pod on the Mark. Trevor Outlaw, before his match against Sam Beal this Friday at Warrior Wrestling Madness, he joins the podcast for the very first time. It's going to be an explosive interview, and I can't wait to chat with him. But I'm very excited to see where this feud goes between FTR and the Bucks, because obviously they got their match at Revolution for those tag titles. But the main event match here on Dynamite was Tommaso Ciampa and FTR teaming up with Dem Bucks, Mark Briscoe, and the Young Bucks. Which, first off, that's awesome. That Mark gets to team with the Young Bucks. The Bucks are back to their old babyface self, and they get to have some time teaming together because we know how much they teamed against each other. The Briscoes and the Young Bucks, it's probably the best feud that the Briscoes had, even though Briscoes and FTR was incredible as well, which I got that Briscoes multi-pack figure thing over there. You probably can't see it. That was from that dog collar match with FTR because it's still one of my favorite tag team matches of all time. But, well, it was another great match on Dynamite. Just like 3 or 4 great matches last night, and that's another reason why I've been loving AEW as of late. I really think they're putting out great matches every single week, and this one was definitely one of those. A lot of spots going on here. Tables were involved, but the man that needed the win the most got the win here, and that was Tommaso Ciampa. When it was all said and done, he's the one that gets the pinfall. That's the dynamic going forward. That's the story, is what is Ciampa going to do? Is Ciampa going to align himself with FTR? I don't think he should, personally. I think Ciampa's a big enough star by himself. You see it with the intro. You see it with his theme song. I feel like he just feels like a star. Once again, that could be a little bit of bias. I'm NXT black and gold through and through, and I think Ciampa's one of the most underrated talents in WWE in the past 15 years, but that's the story going forward. Is Tommaso Ciampa going to join FTR in Stokely? So I don't know. I don't think he needs to, but I'm curious on what your guys' thoughts are. Do you think Ciampa needs to join FTR going forward? Could that be fun business? Maybe. But for me personally, I'm not going to share my pick, but I really think the Bucks need to look strong here on Sunday. I don't know. Man, it's a tough spot because if they win, you're going to have people saying, oh, of course, the Young Bucks, they're going to win all these titles because they're the EVPs. But if they lose, people are going to be like, oh, I'm tired of FTR having these tag titles. So it's a tough call. I think he would still be back at the next pay-per-view. Yeah, and I agree. He needs to be solo. Ciampa doesn't need to be with FTR to be relevant. He's a big enough star, but another great match, like I said, here in the main event. Just consistent stuff through and through with AEW Dynamite. But they didn't close the show with that match. They closed the show with the press conference between Hangman Page and MJF, that being the deathmatch main event for AEW Revolution. Press conference was fine. I mean, a presser's a presser. If you've never seen a press conference, then you don't know what I'm talking about. But anybody that's seen a pro wrestling press conference, it went the way you expected it to go. They got a couple normal questions in. Of course, the Denise Salcedo was there, some bigger names and whatnot. And then that all set up MJF for a toast. He had 2 beers, threw a beer in the face of Hangman Page. Basically said that who is Hangman Page without that title? It's a good question. I guess we're going to find out because obviously the stipulation is if Hangman does not beat MJF this Sunday, he will no longer contend for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship going forward. Obviously, there's ways to get around that. It's professional wrestling. He can earn his opportunity back down the road. But the presser ended up going into a brawl, and that got into the audience. just building up that excitement for that big main event going down between these two. And I've said it on past shows. This is the biggest match I think AEW could put on right now in terms of who's healthy and who they have on the roster, because you got Hangman Page, who in my opinion is the number one babyface in the company, and B, MJF, who is the number one heel in the company. Put them up against each other. I know we saw it last year. There's no way they could disappoint. And similar to Dynamite last night, Dynamite didn't disappoint. I thought Dynamite was one of the stronger shows of the year. If I had to give it a letter grade, I would say it was an A. That is how you build up excitement for a big show, because Revolution is a big show. Revolution always has match of the year candidates, and I'm sure you could say that probably about every AEW pay-per-view in the history of AEW, but it's true. Revolution seems to shine brighter. I think back to 2021, Revolution. I was in attendance for it. I still think it's the best AEW pay-per-view of all time. Either that or the All Out, and I think it might have been 2021 as well, maybe 2022, where Danielson and Cole came out at the end of the pay-per-view. That was also in Chicago, and still one of mine, if not the best AEW pay-per-view of all time. That's another thing. If people are watching this on replay, let me know your favorite AEW pay-per-view of all time. Who knows? Maybe we could be talking about AEW Revolution 2026 being one of those greatest pay-per-views of all time. Eric said I was going back and forth, but give me Hangman. I think MJF can lose it this quick, and Kyle doesn't need a title. That's true. I don't know. I'll probably be going back and forth. I don't have an official pick yet. I got a couple more days to think on it. Because like I said, we'll be live this Sunday. It's going to be at, I believe, 11 a.m. Eastern, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but if I am wrong, make sure you go to the socials so you can get accurate information. But I'll be joined by a couple friends previewing AEW Revolution this Sunday before the pay-per-view starts. So if you want to hang out with us and see who we got winning each match, please do. At mainevent_net is where you're going to be able to find us. And while you're here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because we are on the road to 300 subscribers. Tino said it earlier. I believe we are 8 away right now. Be a friend and tell a friend that we got almost daily uploads going on over here at the Main Event Wrestling Network. And we're also on Twitch, so make sure you're following us there, twitch.tv/mainevent_net. We'll be streaming some shows, and video game content is to come, so stay tuned for news on that. But I'm going to keep things tight today because, like I said, I got a big interview to prepare for later this evening. Eric said All Out 2021. I mean, with the debut of Adam and Brian and the in-ring debut of Punk and Ruby. Yeah, 2020. That's why I said 2021, 22, AEW was my favorite wrestling company. It was the best professional wrestling on the planet. You could argue that they are now. I don't want to sit here and have that argument because I'm not a guy that likes to argue, but the Double or Nothing mock showed up. Really got me when it first happened. That was a big moment. That's one of those defining moments for AEW, I think, when Moxley came up and showed up and debuted there early on. It's going to be one of those defining moments that they'll play on video packages and whatnot. But yeah, like I said, boys, going to keep things short and tight this week. That's what she said. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me this morning. And if there's anybody watching this later on, you guys can keep up with my stuff. At 2SweetKyle, you see my handle right there. Scan that QR code. Check out all the good stuff we got going on in the Main Event Wrestling Network. And I'll see you guys later tonight for our interview with Trevor Outlaw, which will be simulcasted here on the Main Event Wrestling Network, but more importantly, at Pod on the Mark, the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, live 7 p.m. Central. See you guys later tonight. Have a good rest of your day.